Hurricane Beryl left a nightmarish reality for so many in our area.
This is the first house I've ever bought by myself, and I'm 50 years old. This is for me and my daughters.
Including for single mother Megan White.
I worked really hard to get this house, and to see it destroyed like that in a matter of seconds, I can't even describe how devastating it is.
White tells me the powerful storm brought a large pine tree from a neighboring lot crashing through her home.
I jumped up out of the bed and hugged that wall, literally hugged the wall, and everything came crashing down. Yeah.
She's grateful to be alive and grateful her daughters weren't home when it happened. What she's not happy about is this. She says a closer look at the tree shows it was rotten, and she claims to have found proof of a termite infestation.
What I would like to do is hold this guy responsible for neglecting a tree that was clearly rotten, that devastated two families' lives.
Today I spoke to John Black of the Daly & Black law firm for answers. He tells me normally in the state of Texas, if a tree from a neighbor's lot falls into your home during a natural disaster, you're responsible. That is, except for
in situations where you think your neighbor did something wrong or failed to do something wrong, which we just call negligence. In those instances, it may be your neighbor's fault, at least partly.
In terms of tracking down the person behind the company that owns the lot, Black recommends heading to the Secretary of State's website, where you can find the registered agent for any LLC operating in the state.
That's the person that the company, the LLC, is designated as that person that is to receive notices.
Tonight, a family has questions about their safety in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. A number of wires are down on their property, but are they live and electrified or not? It is a very important question, but the family says CenterPoint isn't giving them an answer. Tracy Bragg has a closer look at this potentially dangerous situation.
It was terrifying.
As Hurricane Beryl moved into Maria Irigori's Tomball neighborhood, its strong winds threw down trees and damaged the area.
We heard the super loud explosion.
Maria says that sound was this transformer exploding. Moments later,
the limb from this tree up here fell and took off all the power and the light over here and snapped that pole in half,
leaving a major and potentially dangerous situation.
The live wire, as you can see, it's touching the metal gate, so we don't know. We were afraid of even touching the gate, so the fire department came and they kicked the gate open and said, okay, you can go across as long as you don't touch it, because we still don't know if it's powered or not.
Leaving Maria and her family with more questions than answers.
Like, we don't even know if anybody can get electrocuted over here.
So left with potentially dangerous and deadly wires and no answers, Maria said she did what anyone would do. She called CenterPoint multiple times.
I've called 4 times. Every time I call, I tell them, and they said they'll take the report, and then they don't. When I call again, they said, sorry, we don't have anything reported. At least give us the certainty that this is not live, and, you know, we have pets, we have children that are not going to get electrocuted by touching it.
This evening, I reached out to CenterPoint several times to get the answers Maria and her family so desperately need. So far, no response from the company.
You feel that you really have no hope. It's like you're hopeless and you're left to your demise.
Tracy Bragg, KHOU 11 News.
Well, down power lines have many people concerned about the spark fires. We've gotten a lot of calls about this, and many are saying they're calling a 911. The fire department says, well, you actually need to call CenterPoint because they don't deal with these down lines. CenterPoints are the ones that need to fix it.
This family of 8 in the South Acres home still can't believe their house is gone.
Okay,
In a matter of minutes, they said they lost it all.
it's very difficult because, one, it's a family home. It's been here for years.
They believe the fire was started after a vacant home just 2 houses down.
Her power line was on fire and she had called the 911.
They said CenterPoint came out, shut the power down to the vacant home, And as Centerpoint left,
Everything was cool, so we were getting ready to unpack and go back in the house.
their home went up in flames. They believe
It was because of the wires. When they put whatever happened out at her house, it ended up came straight to ours.
And we've been getting messages from viewers from across the city concerned. These live wires sparking once the power is turned on.
I didn't think that they would energize our line until they had taken care of it.
These residents near Braeswood Boulevard tell us their pole is leaning and the lines are down in their backyard. They say their trees caught on fire.
We are lucky that the tree was wet because wet wood doesn't burn quickly.
They understand Centerpoint is overwhelmed, but feel
it's incredibly frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating to know that things could be done better. There could be better processes in place.
Well, the Houston Fire Department says that fire you just saw is still under investigation. They're trying to determine the cause. And Centerpoint, by the way, tells us if you see downed power lines, you should stay at least 35 feet away from them. You should also contact them at 713-207-2222. Reporting live, Anayeli Ruiz, KHOU 11 News.
In the Sugar Creek subdivision, linemen have moved out, but 34 families are still wondering when their lights will be back on. Marcelino Benito is live in Sugar Land tonight. Marcelino, one of those residents has multiple sclerosis, and we understand this is really impacting her health.
Well, guys, that's right. Amy and her husband, believe it or not, are going on day 8 without power. MS and extreme heat can be a dangerous combination, and unfortunately, they're not getting any answers from Centerpoint.
They're saying we all have power out here in the subdivision, and we don't.
Tonight, the generator is still running at Amy and Dennis Hellman's Sugar Creek home.
Every 4 hours, I have to fill a generator.
It helps cool their bedroom, but that's about it. And for Amy, who's living with MS,
I'm getting to where I can't move in a lot of places because the heat's getting worse.
the longer this goes, the more dangerous it becomes.
When I get overheated for any length of time is that I start having trouble with my eyes, and I can't see.
They're one of 34 homes in Sugar Creek inexplicably still in the dark, including Gary Schultz and his wife just 2 doors down.
It's frustrating when your neighbors across the street, both one side and the other side, all have power.
The homes across the street from Gary are all back to normal. He's still filling up his generator. He thought this nightmare would be over last week.
Through the other hurricanes, the most we ever was without power was 3 days, and those were Cat 3s. This was a Cat 1. I don't think Centerpoint was prepared for it.
And now Centerpoint crews have already left the neighborhood. Families wondering when they'll be back.
A day, a week, a month, which is it? And nobody has an answer.
34 families tonight, desperately wanting to be heard.
We've been forgotten. They're not worried about us. They just putting it off and moved on. My message to Centerpoint, we need help.
Now, we reached out to Centerpoint tonight for an updated timeline and answers as to when they can expect to have their power back on. I can tell you tonight we have not heard back from Centerpoint, but we'll keep pushing and update you and our viewers. Most importantly, those 34 families still waiting on power tonight as soon as we get an answer.
Right now, in the days following Beryl, we've seen communities come together to help those who lost everything.
Now, one community is stepping up to help an employee of Three Brothers Bakery. Devon Roming joins us live from the bakery's Braeswood location. Devon, fill us in here.
Well, good morning, Ron and Stephanie. You know, this employee tells us his home went up in flames after downed power lines caught fire during Hurricane Beryl. And investigators say that fire not only caught his home on fire, but it also spread to a neighbor's home. Now, Jesus Gonzalez lived in this Southwest Houston home for 22 years, and he says within a matter of seconds, he lost everything he's worked so hard for. It was all gone. But Gonzalez says there is hope. He's received an outpouring of support from his community and from the owners at Three Brothers Bakery, where he is one of the bakers. They've come together to provide things like clothes and food for he and his family as they try to recover after this tragedy. Now, with that, later on this weekend, this coming Saturday, there will be a plate sale here at the Braeswood location of Three Brothers Bakery, and all of the proceeds will go to the Gonzalez family as well as the neighbor's family who lost their their home. There's also a GoFundMe page with this link on our website, and there will also be a fundraiser, not only just with the plate sale, but they're also going to be taking donations here at this location from now until Saturday. Live in Braeswood, Devon Raming, KHOU 11 News.
Some restaurant owners we talked to this week are finally reopening after getting their power back. Anieli Ruiz back on the story, live with the help they still need to recover. Anieli?
That's right. For many people, it's been 10 days without work, and a lot of people are hopeful that there's some resources that can help them make their bills this month.
For many, it's been 10 days without work. Now that the power has been restored, Guillermo Camarena and his staff at Quecas Locas and more.
Mi cara lo dice todo.
He says his face says it all. They're happy to be back working. And that's the case for many employees who missed out.
Para una semana para mí es mucho.
Maria Alvarez says a week without pay is very hard. She doesn't know how she's going to pay rent and other bills, but she's not alone. Dandelion Cafe owner Sarah Liberman says she closed for 10 days. She knows her staff of 26 here at the Bel Air location are going to feel the pinch.
It has to be terrible. I can't imagine. We have a lot of single moms that work for us. I know people live paycheck to paycheck. That's our biggest stressor.
Fortunately, there's help. The Texas Workforce Commission announced that they're receiving federal funds to provide disaster unemployment assistance for all employees in any field who missed work.
So in this case, Hurricane Beryl coming through, whether it be flooding, power outages, someone not being able to get to work, that could all constitute as an eligible criteria that they may meet for these DUA benefits.
And all these resources, they say,
every little bit helps us.
Hopefully fill in those gaps to make ends meet this month.
Sería espectacular.
Maria says it would be spectacular to get any help to ensure she doesn't fall behind with her bills, because they say
tenemos que sobrevivir.
They're going to do everything they can to survive and get back up again. For disaster unemployment assistance and for loans for your business, we have all of that information posted on our website at KHOU.com. Reporting live, Anieli Ruiz, KHOU 11 News.
Today marks 2 weeks since Hurricane Beryl swept through the Houston area. A majority of residents have their power restored and are back to their daily routines.
But many in our area are just beginning to rebuild. Maria Aguilera spoke with a family who is currently displaced, not knowing what's next. She joins us live with their story. And Maria, this is obviously such a difficult time for that family.
Reka, Trayson, it is a difficult time, and this is what you'll see when you drive around several neighborhoods hit by Beryl. Debris and tree trunks chopped into smaller pieces, piled up on sidewalks, waiting to be picked up, while many families are also waiting for their homes to be rebuilt. What was once a home,
I'm scared. I don't know if my home will hold up.
Is now gutted, under construction all over again.
It's heartbreaking. You had kids here, grandkids.
Linda and Cameron Brown have lived here for more than 20 years. That is until 2 weeks ago today.
This is where the tree was.
Hurricane Beryl uprooted a 60-foot tree from their front yard, and it came crashing down on their house.
It's shocking to see your home just almost gone.
Linda says she got up from bed just moments before.
I'm glad I got up and listened to him for the first time.
Now forced to camp outside.
Come on, let's go, guys.
With their pets.
We have 5 dogs, and they're under a lot of stress right now.
Inside, years worth of memories destroyed.
But most of the pictures are gone.
And they're not alone. About 200,000 Texas households are getting help through FEMA, expected to receive more than $175 million in financial assistance to get back on their feet after the storm. For the Browns,
it's just a waiting game.
They're not sure what's next for their home.
If they're going to even rebuild it or fix it, or right now they're just trying to stabilize it.
And while most people are moving on, they have a message to share.
Be kind to others. You don't know what they're going through. And be grateful, because this is very devastating.
We know there are so many other families displaced right now. If you haven't done so yet, you can apply to get help through FEMA. The deadline is September 10, and you can apply online, over the phone, or in person at one of their disaster recovery centers. We have that information on KHOU.com. Live in Spring, Maria Aguilera, KHOU 11 News.